A blonde woman wants to prove she is smart, so she goes down to the local police station and says that she wants to become a detective. The police chief decides to humor her and asks her, "Okay, can you tell what is 1 and 1?" 11, she replies. The chief thinks a moment and says, "That's not what I wanted, but I guess that's technically correct." Second question. What 2 days of the week begin with the letter T? He asks. Today and tomorrow, the blonde answers. The chief is again surprised that the blonde has supplied an answer that's not entirely wrong. Now listen carefully. Who killed Abraham Lincoln? He asks her. The blonde looks a little surprised. She thinks really hard for a minute and finally admits, "I don't know." Well, why don't you go home and work on that one for a while? So, the blonde wanders over to the beauty parlor, where her pals are waiting to hear the results of the interview. The blonde was exultant. "The interview went great," she says. "First day on the job and I'm already working on a murder case."
A young blonde woman, excited to try her hand at ice fishing, went out and bought everything she'd need: rod, tackle box, stool, and even a brand new insulated thermos. With high hopes and a love for adventure, she headed to what she thought was the perfect frozen lake. Bundled up and brimming with enthusiasm, she set down her gear and got to work. She perched herself on her little folding stool and began cutting a circular hole in the ice, just like the videos online had shown her. Just as she finished the last scrape, a powerful voice boomed from above. "There are nitrogen monoxide fish under the ice." Startled, she jumped to her feet and looked around. The ice stretched in every direction, but there was nobody in sight. Shaken yet determined, she slid her stool further out across the ice and set up a second spot. She took a sip of hot chocolate, trying to steady her nerves, and started cutting another hole. But again, just as she began, she heard the same deep voice. "There are nitrogen monoxide fish under the ice." Now thoroughly spooked and more than a little annoyed, she trudged all the way to the far corner of the rink Juteau Bessure. She dropped her gear, sat down, and began to carve yet another hole. Before her blade even made it through the surface. The voice roared, louder than ever. "There are nitrogen monoxide fish under the ice." She leapt off her stool, heart pounding. Eyes wide, she yelled up into the sky. "Lord, is that you?" A short pause. Then the voice replied, dryly, "No, this is the manager of the ice skating rink. There are no fish under the ice."
A blonde walked into a flight school, determined to learn how to fly. With all the planes in use, the owner offered to teach her how to pilot a solo helicopter instead. He showed her the basics, started the helicopter for her, and sent her off. After climbing to 1,000 feet, she radioed in, "I'm doing great. I love it up here. The view is amazing, and I'm getting the hang of this." At 2,000 feet, she checked in again, saying how easy it was and how much fun she was having. The instructor smiled, but as she climbed to 3,000 feet, he started to get worried since she hadn't radioed in. Minutes later, he watched in horror as she crashed about half a mile away. He rushed to the scene and pulled her from the wreckage. When he asked what happened, she replied, "I don't know. Everything was going fine, but as I went higher, it started getting cold. I can't really remember much after I turned off the big fan.